Hello, this is Angelo with the ninth Finish Stronger Challenge Masterclass. Today's subject is attention and how much do I need your attention today? It is such an important subject. But before we proceed, let me show you a chart and let me tell you what it is all about. What you see here is basically the attendance rate from the first 8 Finish Stronger Challenge masterclasses. And as I promised in the very beginning, in the first masterclass, things will go south for many people. They will just drop their efforts towards getting to where they want to go. This is expected because actually I know how laborious it is to change the patterns of our thinking and acting, basically our beliefs and our habits. So what you see here is that if 100% of you were here on the very first masterclass, now it's about 42%. So basically 6 out of 10 have already given up on their dreams. It's not about giving up on Finish Stronger Challenge. That wouldn't be so much of a problem, but their attitude indicates that basically they have given up on their dreams. So, that said, before we begin, again, I want to thank you and I want to congratulate you for being here, because just by being here is basically a demonstration that you truly want to see your super self in the mirror and your super life before your very eyes. Meaning that just by being present is almost 80% of success. So, I today, especially more than ever before, I want you to completely switch off all distractions and make sure that for the next 30 to 45 minutes max, it is as if in this whole world, it is just you and me talking about this important subject of attention. Actually, I was toying with the idea of naming today's subject the one thing that changes everything. Because the moment you shift your attention, everything else changes for you. Of course, you're more than welcome to keep notes, but always remember that also you will be having the replay at your disposal, and now you can be fully present if you prefer. Last but not least, we have crossed the point of no return, and you want to send this message to your mind that from now on, the only possible outcome that you allow in your consciousness is you landing happily and safely at your destination and achieving your goal. Last week, we talked about unlimited energy, and every time you feel like you don't have enough energy, go back to the 8th masterclass and make sure you apply as many of these 16 ways to tap into more energy into your life so that you will never, ever again feel that you're lacking energy. Today, it's all about attention. It's all about the thing that when you have it, you're golden. And when you don't, there is practically no way for you to get closer to your super self and your super life. The question that we always ask ourselves many times every single day, and I'm pretty sure by now it has become a habit of yours. How do I feel? Because the moment you ask yourself, how do I feel? You take the most important checkpoint during the day and make sure that you have enough energy to go about that day. And the better you feel, the more energy you have towards achieving and converging, getting closer to your destination. So in the previous masterclass, we saw 16 energy sources, 16 ways to tap into more energy during your day. But you know what? Energy flows where focus goes, right? So, that said, the more you focus, the less energy you need to achieve your goal. I remember reading about these gigantic pipelines that are in Denmark, and they go from one basically energy plant and they spread out to little cities and little villages, sending heat that would have, like gone to the atmosphere. And all this heat from the factory that it is virtually useless is traveling, like miles and miles, is being transferred to homes, heating homes. Now, if these pipes were full of holes, how much would we heat the homes? Almost zero, right? The same thing goes when you give away your attention all day long. So you read the news, and of course your energy levels drop even more. And then you hear bad news from a friend of yours, and then your energy levels drop even more. And you might ask, Angelo, shouldn't I know about stuff? Shouldn't I know about what is going in the world? Or shouldn't I be empathetic about a friend of mine having, trouble with their lives or business? Yes, but from the point of power, from a point that you are happy and unstoppable, and then you're able to help another human being. Now, talking about attention, I want to ask you, which is your favorite sweet? From all the sweets in the world, which is your favorite sweet? And now that I am asking, something like a serious activity is happening in your mind, right? So now you might be thinking, for sure, it's that one. Or you might be thinking, is it this one, sweet A or sweet B? Or maybe sweet C? Another one might ask, why is Angelo talking about sweets? I thought Angelo was all about, peak performance and peak state and, peak nutrition also. And someone else might ask, why is Angelo bringing the subject of sweets? Today was my first day to, go on diet or something. Why did you have to bring that up? I just asked one question, and then your mind travels depending on your thought patterns. This was the purpose of this exercise. I just asked one question, and if you're not just listening but watching now, you also see a sweet right now, and this also triggers your imagination and more thought patterns. And now, if you don't do something about it consciously, you will fall into the trap of your subconscious patterns. If they are serving, great. But if they're not, then it is all a matter of when you will surface back up to the level of consciousness and see what is going on in your mind. Let's play another game. It's full of games today. So much fun. Can you see the orange box? So, of course, you have to be watching now to participate, but can you see the orange box? In this matrix, there is just one orange box. Can you find it? Can you point it? Let me help you a bit. Can you see it now? I just made, a black frame around it. So I'm pretty sure that it is much easier for you to see the orange box right now. And this is, not a trick or anything. This is the one. But I want to help you even more now. Can you see the orange box now? Wow. What if your life was like this? What if your attention and your focus was so powerful that everything else in your life would be blank, and the only point that you virtually can focus on is your number one priority right now? Trust me, there are people who can manage this. Like a nice example that I thought of the other day is when, a peak athlete, a peak basketball player is shooting this shot, and it's like win or lose, right? And he has to make it. And it's, of course, fate has it that it is from the opposition team, everyone behind the basket. And of course, they're moving their hands, they're shouting and screaming and doing everything to distract the basketball player. But he has trained so much to clear his consciousness, to clear his senses from everything else but the basket. And this is why, in most cases, it is virtually unimportant what is going on around them. So, that said, ask yourself, how would my life be if I was absolutely focused 100% on my super life? Meaning, mentally and emotionally, I am hooked with my super life. I am already there, and I leave my body, I give permission to my body to follow. Ask yourself this question. How would my life be? Now that you know that you get distracted so many times during the day for so many reasons, ask yourself this question. How would my life be, like the optimum scenario, the best case scenario? How would my life be if I was fully present on just one thing, my number one priority? Because this is basically what it means to become a master of effectiveness and minimize the time and effort it takes to achieve something. And of course, this was not your life. You just achieved something, and now you know how to achieve the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. The illusion is that we have to juggle during the day within, like a dozen, if not more, goals and not achieving anything. Because the time we take on a certain subject, our mind is, like considering what I can do on the other thing. And maybe you've heard me say before, like a total disservice to your life would be to be in that important meeting and asking yourself, how is your son doing at the soccer game? And when you're at the stand watching the soccer game, asking yourself, how did the meeting go with that client? You want to be fully present and make sure you not only give, but also receive 100% of the moment and making the most of it. This is a matter of effectiveness, and this is where you put so much more in your life. Let's play another game. Can you see the route it takes to go from point A to point B in this maze? Can you see it? Can you make sure that you can go from point A to point B happily and safely, as we would like to say here? And the question is, would it be easier for you if you had, like a course charted for you? Let us see. Isn't it easier to see now the path to go from point A to point B as easily and as fast as possible? But asking you these questions, it was kind of like a trick questionnaire game that I played with you right now, because what happened is I said maze a couple of times, right? And what did happen in your mind? You focused on the maze. You focused on the problem. And you missed the path of least resistance, which is to go around the maze. You didn't have to cross the maze. You didn't have to look for the path. All you had to do was to go from point A to point B as easily, as happily, as effortlessly, and as fast as possible. And you missed it because you focused on the maze and you missed the point of the exercise. This is how vital it is for all of us to make sure to focus on the task at hand, which is to land safely, happily at point B, to get the job done, as we would say. It's not focusing on the path, it's not focusing on the problem for sure. It is one thing we have to do is to land happily and safely at point B. So, why did we play this exercise? Because I want to give you like a huge alert and tell you, take your attention from the problems you don't have, the drama that sometimes our mind creates, and steer your attention back to the problems you do have so that you solve them. Focus on the solution of the problems that you actually have, not the drama that our minds create if we let them loose, because this is like a total construction of the ego and has nothing to do with the facts. All you want is to focus on the facts and make sure that you sleep one step closer to your destination than you woke up. That is all you need to do, basically. Next, I have some bad news, and these bad news basically were delivered by Elsie Lincoln Benedict 100 years ago, 1 century ago, because it was in her book back in 1923 that she wrote, as long as you focus on the gap instead of the bridge, you will never be able to bridge the gap. Wow. And so many of us focus on the gap, on the things we don't have, on the things that we lack, on the progress we haven't made, on the failures that we made like a couple of years ago. And all we have to do is to bridge the gap or build the bridge with our solutions, with our mindset, with our skill set, with our tool set, with our connections, with whatever it takes to bridge the gap. This is all we have to do. And this is also, it takes us back to the point of effectiveness. You want to be more effective and you want to steer your attention back on what we call solution-oriented mindset. Truly make upgraded use of this powerful, so powerful computer that you have between your ears, basically. This is how vital it is for all of us to upgrade our effectiveness. The good news, though, is that your attention is just another muscle that you can flex, you can strengthen. And knowing this means that right now, you can start upgrading your focus, upgrading your attention. You can start right now being attentive of your attention. You will hear me say this many times over, and I truly hope for you and your happiness and success that you will also repeat this many, many times over until it truly becomes like a dominant factor of your operating system. You want this to be one of what we call your core beliefs. I am attentive of my attention. I take good care of my attention. I focus on what I need to be focusing on. I focus on what truly deserves to be a part of my life and a part of my happiness and success. I said the same thing in many different versions so that it sticks. I am attentive of my attention. I am attentive of my attention. I am attentive of my attention. Next, why am I putting so much energy? Because I know how much energy it takes to be attentive of your attention. I know what it means to have a gazillion distractions, and maybe this is an understatement, a gazillion distractions during the day. This is how important it is for you to put the effort now to grow, to cultivate, to strengthen this attention muscle so that you can delegate it to your subconscious. Because once you delegate this focus on your subconscious, then you're golden, you are saved. Because you have this powerful and this loyal delegate taking the right actions and the right decisions for you. So maybe a good example would be like a scientist in the lab, and there is so much going on around him, but he's completely, entirely focused on what he's doing because he's almost ready to make a breakthrough. So he's so focused. I mean, there is screaming at the corridor, like somebody slipped and, hit their hip or something. I don't know. I'm making stuff up. Or somebody just asked him if he wants a sandwich for lunch, and he doesn't hear anything. He's so focused. This is how powerful focus can be, and this is where you truly expend the minimum amount of energy to get from where you are to where you want to go. That said, I want to truly give you a heads up right now on three thieves of your happiness and success. Number one, all the minor things, everything basically that has nothing to do with your happiness and what you want to achieve. As Jim Rohn used to say, don't major in minor things. Make sure that you focus entirely on what deserves to be a part of your life. And right now that we are on this Finish Stronger Challenge attitude, basically you already have picked one priority, the thing that matters to you most to achieve or get as close as possible by the end of the year. Number two, be truly aware of these super smartphones. They're not just smartphones, they're so smart that they steal your attention and you have no idea it is happening in real time. And now I'm going to use one of my quotes. I don't know where your destination is, but for sure it is not further down on the screen that you're scrolling right now. And this is very important. Maybe it's not one of the best or the most popular quotes, but it's like a huge truth, because so many people keep scrolling when they need to be doing, almost everything else to achieve their goals. This is why I'm saying many times, you will either do what you must in order to get what you want, or you will do what you want, meaning keep scrolling, and you will get what you must. Meaning, at the end of the year or at the end of this Finish Stronger Challenge, you will not be at your destination because consciously or unconsciously, you made the choice to keep scrolling. Next, thief number three, obstacles. Obstacles can be so loud sometimes. Henry Ford used to say, obstacles are those frightful things you see when you take your eyes off your goal. And so many times, we give permission to our ego to create so much drama around a certain obstacle that has come up that we tend to forget why on earth we need to cross this obstacle and go through it and towards our destination. So the obstacle, because energy flows where focus goes, right? So the obstacle gets bigger and bigger, and our destination gets smaller and smaller in our consciousness. And what matters is what we think and feel about the subject. And of course, it's Angelo we're talking about, and the three thieves I always have to give you something more. I will give you the most important one, the worries. And as Zig Ziglar used to say, worries are interest paid before it's due. And imagine yourself giving, thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest, even though it could have been paid in years and decades to come. Same thing with worrying. And what worrying is basically, it is a total disservice to your happiness in the present and your success in the future. Because by worrying today, all you're doing is depriving yourself of how much better you could feel right now. And isn't this the indicator of how well you can perform today and how much closer to your destination you can be tomorrow, right? So, as Brooke Castillo says, there are two kinds of problems, basically, math problems and drama problems. Math problems have solutions, and drama problems are not real problems. Make sure you minimize, if not completely eliminate, the drama that is going on in your mind and all the worrying that you keep creating. And basically, this is a pattern. And if this pattern has momentum, I know it takes some energy, but now you know how precious it is to minimize this momentum and slow down and completely at some point eliminate these worrisome thoughts. So now that I have your attention, you want to invest your attention on the three things that matter the most. Number one, where am I going? See and feel yourself at your destination. This is why the happy landing exercise is so important. Number two, how do I feel right now? Because how do I feel right now matters on how much energy I have to get from where I am to where I want to go. And if I feel that my energy is depleted, is basically an indication that I'm not focusing on number one. Because once you focus on your destination, this should immediately charge you with energy, like as much as possible, right? This is because you have chosen a strong why, a clear and compelling destination, and burning desire. And the burning desire, the moment you think and feel yourself there, you immediately get charged with enthusiasm and inspiration. And three, which is the highest value action, the best action that I can take right now to get from where I am to where I want to go. You will find yourself that once you're in the flow, as we call it, you don't even have to ask yourself this question. Because this is what flow means. You're taking, like, truly, you're making the right moves, you're taking the right decisions towards your destination because you're connected, you're attuned with your destination. Now, if it helps, and this is like my philosophy, is to have, if you don't have like a philosophy or a strategy for your life or your business to get from where you are to where you want to go, borrow the one that fits best to you from what you know. So once again, I think you've probably seen this before. I will share my philosophy on how I help myself to focus as easily and effortlessly as possible. Number one, I have this cross, and these four quadrants basically is my operating system, like in a small sketch. Number one, on the first quadrant, we have H, which stands for health and happiness. This is like always my number one priority. I have to make sure that I am well enough, number one, to be happy, and number two, to be of value to others. It is what, like, the flight attendant would suggest, right? Put your mask first, because if you don't have a mask, you cannot be of value to society. Number two, now that I am well, I focus on F, meaning family and friends. And I want to make sure that my family and my friends are well before I go to quadrant number three, which is my number one priority. For instance, right now, my number one priority is you. This is it. I'm entirely focused and making sure trust me, I do have a lot of problems in my life and my business, but right now, you are my 100% focus. I'm focusing entirely, and I hope I am like truly vibrating this to you right now. You and me are the only two people in the universe as far as I am concerned right now. And last but not least, we have a huge X to remind ourselves in the last quadrant that everything else is pointless. We don't give, if possible, we give 0% of our time and energy on anything else. And this is how we create truly, we start making these leaps towards our destination. So, once again, I am attentive of my attention. I am attentive of my attention. I am attentive of my attention. By the way, this is a powerful way of doing affirmations by every time using like a different word that you want to point out to give like emotional charge at. And before I leave you with some exercises, of course, I want to give you like a last minute bonus pointer for what we've discussed. If you don't know where to focus on, so someone might say, okay, I realize that I have to truly focus on right now, but I am a bit confused. I don't know where I should be focusing on to achieve my goal. Well, there is a pretty good tip that basically I got from Earl Nightingale. And that is just focus in the opposite direction of where the masses are going. Because everyone is trained to think and act in a common way, and this is why they get common and unwanted results. So look around. Are most people happy or not? They're not. Are they wealthy? They're not. Are they healthy? Most of them are not. Because they make poor decisions, poor thoughts, and so on. So, a good start would be just to go the other way. So, if most of your friends are not exercising, which could be, like quite common, you go the other way. You exercise. If most of your friends eat junk food, you don't eat junk food. This is the opposite direction, right? If most of your friends spend money around on pointless things, you invest your money on important things. And what are the important things? As Warren Buffett is saying so many times over, the best investment is always in you. So now you get the feel of what it means to go in the opposite direction. And as you move along, you find better and better and better decisions and actions to make and take respectively. Your homework, number one, repeat as many times as you need to engrave this in your consciousness and say, I am attentive of my attention, meaning that you truly care about this powerful tool that takes care of everything else. Number two, pick up your smartphone. This is most probably the most difficult exercise that anyone has asked you to do. Invest your attention to what I'm about to say now. You wake up in the morning, and the first time that you pick up your phone would be to read your daily shot of inspiration for the day, and then you will leave the phone for at least 30 minutes. I know it's really hard. I know it's next to impossible for you, most probably, but this is what you want to be doing at least until the end of Finish Stronger Challenge, because this is how much you care about arriving, landing happily and safely at your destination. So once again, I want to make sure this is, like no joke or it was no misinterpretation of words and everything. What I just said is what you heard. You will pick up the phone, read the daily shot of inspiration, open your emails, read the daily shot of inspiration, and then you will leave this precious phone, you will leave it for 30 minutes untouched. Can you do that? It will help you greatly and immensely in strengthening your focus and sending an excellent message to your subconscious what it is that you truly care about. Last but not least, elevate your, completely soak yourself inside the Facebook group, light up the Facebook group with your questions, with your wins, regardless of how small they are. And regardless if they are with what you've learned from Finish Stronger Challenge or something that you did on your own, basically, or with the knowledge that you already had. What matters is to create and elevate the energy in the group and make sure that everyone is sharing their wins in order to have a collective increase of our energy. Last but not least, even though we are today at day 58, meaning that it is almost 40% that is left, still, this challenge, because of this intensity and because of this marathon-like attitude it has, it can still help people that might need it right now. So invite them if you feel that it would be of value to them. So next week, we will have masterclass number 10. And until then, of course, we will be exchanging thoughts and ideas and micro wins and questions and answers in the Facebook group. Once again, I thank you so much for your attention and your participation. And I leave you, as always, with this. You deserve everything you want, and we all deserve your best self. Go and create an amazing week for you, and I will see you next week. Ciao, ciao.